action. Usually the recording doesn't actually start with the word action. Like, should I? Like, usually, like, you're watching a movie, and every scene starts with someone saying action and ends with someone saying cut. And then the boom mic's in the shot the entire time. That's like a 70s movie. Anyway,
It's like a student film.
Those are good movies.
Oh my god, you're so right. Okay, so we're back, and
You're a student and you're doing fanfic reading, so it's a student fanfic reading.
oh, not like a multi-million-dollar high-budget studio fanfic reading.
Yeah, you know, the ones they get Michael Bay to read.
I thought you were gonna say Michael Jordan.
Michael
Oh,
Jordan.
that would be so much better.
It would be a lot
so
better, it's
much
true.
better.
For one thing, Michael Jordan doesn't have to interrupt himself every 5 minutes to yell and make explosion noises, but...
So, yo, Little Red Riding Hood, bitch going down the street, giving some shit to Grandma. Oh, she's hot, though, and she's leaning up against the car, right? Anyway, I'll stop saying anything. This is
Not
shit.
saying anything is going to make this recording very difficult for you.
Alright, I'll actually begin. Welcome, ladies and sexier ladies.
I'm implying ladies, listen.
Ultra Eternal Prodigal Furious, Very Big Sonic, Fearless Perpetual, Heroic Epic Legendary. And I'm gonna look to verify if I got all the names. I may have actually. I think I've gotten it pretty much down. Prodigal.
I think you got
Did I
that
forget-
one, actually.
Did I forget Prodigal? I might have forgotten Prodigal.
No, you said Prodigal.
Oh, wait, no, it's the third one. Yeah. Shit. Wait, Furious?
Ooh,
Fuck,
I don't
no,
know if you said Furious.
I think I got it. Damn. Okay.
I think you got it, man.
Hear that,
Good job.
Ostentatious? I win. Me, the big guy. Okay. Ultra Eternal Prodigal Furious, Very Big Sonic, Fearless Perpetual, Heroic Epic Legendary. Book 2, Part 1, Chapter 1, Episode 1. Raiders of the Temporal and Metaphysical Storm. It commences. Perhaps my expression of optimism was too eager, but the absence of a radiant beacon did not make us stumble. As the white mist faded, a barren landscape housed by foreboding gray battleships tumbled through and marked there in the sky a permanent harbor. Unfaltering and seemingly motionless, clouds for as far back and as far forward as our eyes could perceive marred the sky. An unnerving breeze swallowed the environment as Scattershot and I silently trotted along, a stark emptiness filled only by the rocks and the dead trees. Admittedly, the melody of this duo had not yet played lyrically, though this company did present fewer shapes in the shadows and frightening noises I may have heard otherwise. Wait, this company I don't know, whatever. Paradise Gorge and its canyons had already sank into a grim vista as we traveled towards the unknown. I missed the shine of the sun and thought of my mother's complexion, but not of my father's, because he is dead. He is but a star flickering behind the sun, dormant, not gone from this spinning top, but threatening to fade if not properly tended to. Something I planned to remedy. Such a plan, though, pondered Scattershot's role, as did I. Weird pauses. This is how I read. A florist did not equate to a traveler, for her... spit in my throat. Pardon?
This is how I read. This is how I read.
I read because it's good. A book it can read. This is how I read.
I read because I
Worst
can.
parody.
You don't
Worst
because
parody
you're
ever.
black.
It's one of the worst parodies ever.
Oh my god.
It sounds like Willow Smith was doing that parody.
Willow Smith.
Willow Bloody Smith. Anyway,
He reads her books
Better
back
than
and
me.
forth.
Is that
She
her?
reads her books back and forth. Christ. A florist did not equate to a traveler, for her breathing grew deep, and she opted to simply fly over crevices, dotting the treacherous wasteland we traversed, rather than simply leap their boundaries like I did. Cliff sides could not escape her grace, but a delicate frame needed time to scale them. If I could hazard a guess for her age, it would be astronomical compared to my own, though she followed without question. The wide realm of lands untouched by time stood before us, as did a figure sitting nearby. From behind a sickly tree, he beckoned Scattershot and I over. Hair follicles flew in every direction, resembling spikes, though colored in a palette of saffron. A wild scarf of white flew in the wind and flirted with the spikes. A laurel green coat, hidden by a dusty cloak, seemed to rise from within the earth, practically begging for some sort of entertainment. I could see it in his eyes, that flame only found in the most elite of travelers. Perhaps he was an adventurer as well. I normally did not get excited about these random meetings, but to interact and share poems with the likes of such a respectable fellow incited a giddy pep in my step. As I wiped the spit from my screen for a moment. There we are. "Hey, bud," he said. "Hey," I said back. "What's up?" he asked. "Not much. You?" I returned. "Nah," he finished. He took his leave and went into the mist behind us, fulfilled by our engaging conversation. Disappointed, I looked back to Scattershot, and she was at a loss for words. Wow, that's a great conversation. With the whisper and whistle of the wind in our ears, we pressed on. Every step seemed to take us to the same location as we made our northern trek. What if this mysterious land I was so strongly rushing headlong into may foster an ambush of some sort? This ambush, or the feeling of not knowing? Perhaps my father may have opted for my safety above his redemption. Perhaps I, in my state of living and serving as his only son, in any endeavor I embarked on, served as the beacon of his life. Vicariously, his soul lived on through me, even without a famous title upon my name. This journey may in fact have held no purpose, and I may have served a higher calling if I simply returned to school. I halted, these thoughts boiling over with questions and decisions needing to be made. If only a sign, Perhaps maybe the hoof of my father was to extend from the faceless grayness and direct me in the right direction. "Are you okay, Ostentatious?" Concern brewed in Scattershot's tone, though she immediately sat down to catch her breath. "Breathe easy for a moment. I am waiting for something," I replied. Extending my neck and drawing my eyes shut, I waited. I waited some more! What was that? I felt a movement, like a brush across my cheek. A wind had picked up. "Do you feel that?" I asked Scattershot, eyes still shut. I think I felt a drop," she said, raising an upturned hoof. I only waited until another brush kissed my spirit and eye. "There! The wind is blowing from the west! There we will find what we are looking for," I proclaimed. "What? You suggest we run into a storm?" I turned to her, eyes bright enough to replace the missing sun. "The wind is picking up, meaning rain. Thus there must be a rainstorm in the west. My father loved the rain. Therefore, he must want me to go where he loves." I did not wait for a reply, and only ran to the eye of the storm, Scattershot reluctantly following. As I predicted, raindrops grew more fervent around my body and enthralled my senses. Was this the personification of my father? I took it as so, for my father loved the smell of rain. If the storm embraced me, so did my father's approval. A single tear down my cheek, the path became undoubtedly clear as I ran to retribution.
You know, I'm actually honestly surprised that during this scene he didn't take the time to make some kind of raindrops keep falling on my head reference.
Well, this was still early in the writing. I just love that he's still doing the single tear. Sorry, I'm taking a water break for a second here. All right.
A water break? Are you taking a drink or are you going outside in the rain?
Drops keep falling on my head.
That doesn't answer my question. You could drink in a really weird manner.
Drops keep falling on my head.
Right.
Yep. Okay, where the fuck was I? Ran to retribution. After only half a minute of travel, my father's signal finally centralized. Beyond the canyon precipice stood the land I sought after. Lightning threw its fist against the earth and shook the land with every impact. Furious winds and torrential rain threatened our new destination, though I ran beside Scattershot to assure our safety. I heard her breathing, growing frantic with my own, though my smile overshadowed the cramps. Our manes flew wildly in the wind as I shouted for our resolve. That cursed water break had taken a lot out of me, apparently. This way, Scattershot! I know it is here! Just a bit more! I yelled as rain filled my lungs with nature's bounty.
Nature's bounty? Really?
Sorry, let me try that again. This way, Scattershot! I know it's here! Just a bit more! I yelled as rain filled my lungs with nature's bounty.
Okay. I can understand
Sounding like some manner of slug monster. Sorry.
I can understand that you were trying to do a voice that was muffled by having something in your lungs, but why did you switch his accent too? You should have just done Zoidberg.
Anyway.
You should have just done Zoidberg.
Could have been Zoidberg. Passion encouraged our pace as my hooves guided Scattershot and I to the area's entrance. No figures peeked out of blows. What? The fuck are blows? No figures peeked out of bushes or plotted against me, thus ushering me into a heaven of safety amid the hostile climate I now knew these journeys to possess.
Haven.
From the slippery, craggy faces of the land, we located a large silo and found refuge inside its pleasant emptiness. With a slam of the door, the wind pulled it shut, and Scattershot and I relaxed in the tranquility of the shelter. Fuck.
Oh man. Okay, new theory, Mike. Apparently taking a water break changes out the water that was in your body for the water you just drank, and loses your magical narration powers in the process.
Oh, that's because there's a typo. Both out of breathe from our marathon. Properly spelled.
Well,
Like both out of breath
one,
from our
but...
marathon. We gave our... Oh, what were you saying?
I said that explains that one, but what about the earlier mistakes?
I don't know, man. Were there earlier mistakes? Shut up. I'm rude.
Best reasoning.
Okay. Both out of breath from our marathon. We gave each other ample time to recollect ourselves before we pondered where we had actually ran to. Stray droplets sent a whooping cough throughout my throat. Though it subsided, Scattershot seemed at ease, just exhausted. Time seemed to have no bearings on that world of eternal dismalness. Thus, we opted to stay in the silo until the storm had passed. The darkness of the silo, I could... I can't read. In the darkness of the silo, I could hear her. It looks like we're on a farm, Scattershot deduced when she could finally speak. I nodded weakly. That was really reckless. That was really reckless of you, Ostentatious, Scattershot chided. A piercing noise had muffled the comment. Most likely the lightning outside. Shut up. I read it right. Scattershot yelped. Yep. Shivers erupted across my frame. A retort was formulated and ready to be said, though a pain in my chest stopped me short. Sharply, it constrained my heart like the grasp of a demon's hand. Slowly, it ran nails across my capillaries and vesicles until it forced me to the floor. I groaned and heard a faint gasp and the rush of hooves as my eyes flooded with darkness and were won over by the abyss. Scene break.
And then he died.
That was the 12th time I died.
Aha! Nice running gag. That's a... Go ahead and everyone go look up Loading Ready Run.
That's from the TeamSpeak Readings Extended Universe books, also known as Loading Ready Run comedy fiction.
This is the 57th time we had this conversation.
Scene break. End of scene break.
I feel like we should have had someone dancing a jig or something.
Let's all go to the lobby!
Oh, or at the very
Real
least,
doing some sort of vaudeville.
or some kind of commercial at the very least, you know, like you're gonna love my nuts. Slapjack.
Oh, I already do. What?
Mike, you just can't stop yourself from making those comments that you really shouldn't.
Oh shit, you are so right. What the fuck is wrong with me? Wow. Alright. Let's get back to the fanfiction. I'm talking like regular Brownie Mike now, since apparently I fucking am subtly hyper gay.
Subtly hyper gay.
Subtly hyper gay.
Right.
I want to suck all the dicks in existence, you know, maybe.
Maybe.
That's subtly hyper gay.
It's
Wow,
it's
microphone right now.
Christ. Derail. Let me gather
Okay,
my
pick up the
chi
train.
for a second.
pick up the train and put it back on the rails.
Chugga 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 woo woo.
That's not helping. It's really not.
Blue doo 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 doo. Thomas the Tank Engine theme.
Oh man.
Such a commercial. I threw open my eyes to respond to Scattershot, but saw no one looking down at me. All was silent. No elements beat against the metallic walls of our hiding place, as a simple candle flickered nearby, and I stopped myself from making an Elite Beat Agents joke, because EBA shows in that same series of acronyms... Disregard. They said
disregard.
No elements beat against. That is the same, like, phrasing as Elite Beat Agents. It was so close to me saying something. I don't know why.
Elements beat against.
So close.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun. That's like the only EBA song people know is Jumpin' Jack Flash. It's common knowledge. A blanket had been draped over me, and my mane had been matted down, as if dried by a towel. The warmth of my breath felt heavenly against my damp coat, and I took solace. In the serenity of our stop. So much so, I pondered leaving the dimness and safety of the silo, but I needed to find where Scattershot had gone off to. Apologies for clapping between every sentence there.
At least we know you have rhythm.
Cause I ain't got rhythm. Blanket still over my back, and me stifling my clap slightly. I dared to peek at the outside world, and what nature had made of it. Not dilapidation, but an idyllic whiteness scattered itself across the horizon. I took a step, powdery to the touch, and uncharacteristically out of season. The mountains in the distance, too, slept beneath their snowbanks, and a gentle pace of snowflakes kept the rate even and constant. Against the canvas, I could make out the silhouette of a home and a light in the window.
That was perhaps the most overly separated and pronounced two ever. The mountains in the distance, two slept beneath their snowbanks.
The mountains in the distance, two slept between. Wow, yeah, you're kind of right there. I noticed it, but luckily I managed to kind of push on through. Also, we've stopped about 8 times in every damn paragraph since
The worst
page
thing
break.
is we've stopped about 8 times in the last 2 paragraphs. We made it through like an entire 2 pages and then ground to a halt.
Which is why we get kind of there's kind of a flow, there's kind of a tide to it, there's kind of a rhythm, which we ain't got still.
Is that song just playing in your head now?
Probably. I'm kind of flicking back and I'm like quantum brain right now.
Schrodinger's brain?
Yeah, I'm stuck in like a 12-part Schrodinger's brain. Who authorized this epoch of winter? Surely any weather patrol had known the month of May was a time of sunshine and prosperity among the leaves, but such assumptions were ignored in this strange, strange land. I crafted an aura around the blanket and tightened it around me as my teeth clamored. The candlelight invited me across the ice like a trance. Of a modest length, width, and height, the area of the house did not impress. A small size, though, followed by a small range to heat.
Behind.
Followed behind a
That's
small
not by.
range. Followed behind a small range to heat. I don't know. Okay. A small size, though, followed behind a small range to heat. Small range to heat? And the crackle of a fire and all its glory filled up my senses. The door creaked and a conversation started.
Stopped.
Fuck!
What are you reading, Mike? Do you have a different version of this pic in front of you?
The door creaked and a conversation stopped. Mine, apparently. My God.
Oh, and I did so well stopping myself from making a 1st of May reference a paragraph ago.
How do I
thought you were on
read
a
it,
roll.
like, word by word, 1 friggin' word per minute typing speed, and friggin'
Typing
say
speed?
well, you don't measure reading in words per minute. You measure typing. I don't know. Oh, Ostentatious, you feel any better? Scattershot asked, walking towards me from the fireplace. A pantheon of the wicked and transparent had their hold of me, but I have arisen. Are you in some pony's company? Also, I'm kind of delirious and I can't form sentences properly. You see, I, Brony Mike, feigning impression as Ostentatious, am wording myself into this in an attempt to, in canon, explain what the fuck is wrong with me.
I think you just worded yourself into a wall.
See, this is why I like having you on board when I read this. I am. She's in the living room. Warmth spread across our bodies and the walls of the room as we neared the fireplace of the home. Beside it sat a comfortable mare of a muted cobalt and an air of enigma. Blends of charcoal and grey ruled her mane as which blends of charcoal and grey ruled her mane, which rested in wild paths around her body. Freshness and youth met her smile well, and her eyes gleamed in the embers. She cocked her head in my direction, spectacles resting on one tip of her nose. Of a similar nature, she rested beneath a plain quilt of uninteresting colors. Austere walls watched our brief exchange of glances until she spoke. Now my question, first time we read this, why did I give her like an old lady voice? Like I figured, I guess I thought she was an old lady, but she's not. She's just kind of gray. She's just kind of gray.
I honestly don't know. I honestly do not know why you gave her an old lady voice.
Yeah, what's up with you, man?
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
You must be that. No. What voice did
Just stop.
Stop
it's like,
right there.
It's almost like Pinkie. It's almost like Pinkie Pie, but like not as hyper.
Oh, okay. Nah, it still sounds kind of hyper. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
This works. You must be the young adventurer Scattershot has told me about, she said, beaming. Pew, pew, pew. Please have a seat by the fire.
Zombie cancer! Pew, pew, pew.
Please have a
it,
seat by
Mike.
the fire before you catch your death of zombie cold. Wowie boom.
Oh, this is never gonna end. This is gonna be the longest reading of Ultra ever.
It's alright. It'll be the ultra reading. Next we'll get to the eternal reading. Actually, no, I guess this would be the eternal one. What would be the prodigal one?
The prodigal one is where you never mess up once in the entire thing.
Oh, that's lame. No, the prodigal one's where the invaders must die. Cleverish. Scattershot and I obliged and sat around the fire. Absolution came from the ice. Absolution from the ice ran through my veins. You don't want to know. I almost read that as absolution came from the ice cream.
How did you put the word came in there in the first place? I'm so confused.
I don't know. I think I might have been thinking of like absolute vodka or whatever.
I don't get it still.
Absolution from the ice ran through my veins and warmed my blood and lulled me. A yawn escaped and shook the fire. Shake, 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 shake. Feel free to rest here, dear. The snow should surely change soon. I looked to Scattershot. She shrugged with a smile. You need the rest anyway. Wait, you need the rest anyway, Osten. You great, now I'm gonna have 3 voices and I'm gonna be constantly getting messed up with each other.
At least you didn't correct yourself from the pinky-ish voice into Austin's voice before reaching Scattershot.
You need the rest anyway, Gaston. Bring back sleigh bells.
I'm afraid I've been thinking.
You need the rest anyway, Osten. You probably swallowed the storm with all your shouting. The 2 mares giggled as my head slipped to the floor in the embrace of the fire's aura. I liked the nickname. Interesting. I thought it was. I completely forgot that people actually called him Osten inside the fanfic.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
That's when we started calling him Osten, I think.
See,
actually.
yeah. In my brain, we've always called him that, but that is completely wrong.
I'm pretty sure in the beginning we always referred to him as Sirostentatious. Because we liked the Sir so much.
Yeah. Oh shit, I knocked down a pen. Okay, hang on.
Oh no, not the pen.
There we go, I got the 2 girls giggling out of the way.
Why did you destroy my ears?
Ow.
What did they ever do to you? Oh, I'm so sorry to everyone listening to this.
No, I'm yelling through the echo mic. My mic isn't, like, topping up, but I guess, like... Okay, here's something I've discovered. I'm gonna completely go away from the fanfic for, like, 20 minutes now.
You know what? Derail, go for it.
That's alright. That's alright. Derail, but with a purpose. Okay, normally, from what I've noticed, if some sounds really, really bug you in a recording or whatever, it is almost always, specifically when the audio is clipping, when it's topping out, interestingly enough. This echo mic, what this echo mic does is that whenever it's not echoing, it is entirely the clipping. There is no regular audio transfer in there. It's absurd.
Yeah.
And that's the Brony Mic analysis. See you next week. No, let's continue the fucking fanfic.
Just go, man.
Where the
You're
hell
on
was I?
Snow begets an untimely arrival, Ostentatious.
I liked the nickname. Snow begets an untimely arrival, I said, eyes closed in relaxation. Esoteric weather patterns abound. Who is in charge of the sky? I asked inquisitively. I see it is true. You are from Equestria. Her gaze was drawn to the fire. The whole world is Equestria, I reminded her. The long reach of the monarchy ends at the barriers of mist. You are in a mad world now. Who rules this world, Bellamina? This land, Bellamina? Scattershot inquired, twice apparently, because of me.
Way to go.
Do you have a princess? There is not one definitive ruler, though many seek to stake their claims around here. She looked up to the dingy wood roof. They'll surely have this house when I dance with my last storm. A somber metaphor, I chimed in. It's actually quite exhilarating. The smell of rain and the sound of lightning make these old bones feel alive again. Oh, I guess that might have been where I got the original idea that she was old. Whatever. I never miss a storm, but of course I've got nothing to do to make me miss it. You see, every storm is supposed to bring a rainbow, and I wouldn't forgive myself if I was to miss it. So far they've gone missing, but hope is abundant around here. Well, yeah, ever since Cloudsdale knocked down the Rainbow Factory because of unethical practices.
Seriously.
I mean, come on. Way to mold to the liberal agenda. Don't re-elect Celestia for a second term is all I'm saying.
Well, a 1,000th term.
Anyway, elect. But hope is abundant around here. Don't make me feel old too. Scattershot laughed with Bellamina. Soon knit her brow. Doesn't the sun come out? I haven't seen a ray since the mist first fell on these lands so many decades ago. Other ponies did not seem to mind, and they went on with their lives, though others succumbed to the madness here. But my hope lies in in that I'll have plenty of time to watch every storm until I see the rainbow or the lightning. She smiled at the crackling fire. The crackling fire. Christ.
Dude, I think I'm gonna have to go listen to this after you put it up. Like, go grab a download of it and edit, just cut out the part where you said soon and take that, like, 1 second long clip and use it all the time because you were like, soon? You dragged it out so freaking long. You were like, you realized you were messing up, but you didn't know how.
Well, I realized I was messing up. I had to figure out how, and I had to figure out how to fix it. And I had to figure out if I was able to fix it without completely starting over, which I really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
She smiled at the crackling fire. Where are your parents or your siblings? Or is this scattershot? Who says this voice?
Who says this voice?
Who does say this voice? I'm going to assume it's ostentatious.
Yeah, that's probably Osten.
Where are your parents or your siblings? Mother and father and my sisters live elsewhere. I took the farm long ago when I came of age. My parents and sisters I cannot speak for, but I trust they're doing well. One must not dwell on what could be when there is so much. She looked at me. What are you to be, ostentatious? I endeavor to be the most venerated, unlike all before me. Venerated?
Venerated.
Venerated.
Venerated?
Venerated.
Venerated.
Do you need a definition or
Yes,
what?
that's why I asked. You're the
okay. I was like, you're
dictionary.
pronouncing it correctly.
Oh,
It's
no.
honored, revered.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because it's like venom generated.
No. Wow.
I endeavor to be the most venerated of all the fangs. Except for the one from Dave the Barbarian. Uncle Oswich. Unlike all before me, by this test I am to ensnare the evils and beasts. My father's legacy is my cause. I plan to live up to the connotations of my title, Eternal. And is this the only one that he's got so far? Or that he has, not implying there are going to be more necessarily?
Yeah, at the end of the first book, he got his first one.
Gotcha, I was just making sure. I wasn't sure if he had any others or anything. Which he might not. This is the first time through the fanfic. How whimsical! She cheered. Just remember that prospect is often better than possession. I've heard that tune before, and she too changed. Huh? I've heard that tune before, and she too changed her mind. Scattershot did look at me.
You're putting words into Scattershot's mouth all the time.
Hi.
Hi.
My power went out.
Oh, okay.
Have
Have
you
you
been
been
Welcome,
involved
Gage.
in the reading so far?
No, I just came in.
Oh, sorry.
We're reading.
Yeah, I'm recording. Great, now we gotta
Indeed.
start over.
No, don't start over. Don't do it.
In the beginning, God invented the heavens and the earth.
You started over too far back.
Fuck. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
That's a completely different show.
Two families are in Verona, and they're fighting, and there's a
Damn it,
prince.
Mike. Damn it, Mike.
And I think Paris is involved.
Hilton?
No, the dude named Paris, except I was joking about the city. Eternal. How whimsical! She cheered. Just remember that prospect is often better than possession. I've heard that tune before, and she too changed her mind. Scattershot did look at me. I don't know what I'd do with myself if I finally saw the sun. I suppose I'd be able to die happy. Surely I would. Bellarmine rested her chin on her hoof and thought. I flirted between the waking and sleeping world as she talked. With such resolve, why not go with Scattershot and I asked.
You're gonna have to
between
read
yawns.
say that.
What?
Well-
What?
You're gonna need the yawns, man.
I'm so lost. Where are we?
Oh yeah, you're right. With such resolve, no. Why not go with Scattershot and Ah. Oh man, this is sleep. It's tired in here. I asked
That last
in between
yawn.
yawns. Yeah.
Like when you started it, like I knew you were gonna do one more before the end, and I was like, why? This yawn is going on for a whole minute.
I had to make an obscure Arrested Development joke.
It's tired in here.
It's tired in here. Yeah. Buster Bluth is like trying to run away to Mexico, so he goes into the housekeeper's car and he's recording a little vlog to himself about his trip, and he's gonna send that to his mom or whatever. And he gets in the car, he starts recording, and then like a minute later he starts yawning and going, oh, it's tired in here, and then he just falls asleep. It's tired in here. I love it.
Good times.
Yeah, good times indeed. It's a good show. Where am I? Between yawns.
She was about to answer.
She was about to answer, though a knock at the door broke the spell. More visitors? Bellamina looked to us, but we did not expect anyone. The cracking and the scream of wood shattered the tranquility of the gathering.
Wow.
As a hinge sputtered to the floor. A second hinge gave way to the impact of kicks, flying across the room and landing before the hearth. Or hearth.
No, it's hearth.
Either work. Wild Eyes stepped through the threshold. Dirty hooves and an even dirtier coat following suit. It should be dry cleaned. The feral stallion gazed, eyes glazed over, into the fire. Eyes into the fire? That would be painful. Mouth open with heavy breaths, teeth missing, and black like an abyss. Colors were gone and washed out by dismal ashy grays. It grunted and moaned and began a slow advance on us. Without reply, Bellamina shot to her hooves, twisting as she stopped before the stallion's mania, and brought hooves to face like a comet.
Oh, she's a professional wrestler. Mania!
She's the Grey Comet. With a whimper, she backed away. He backed away, the assailant, and fell into the snow outside. Other voices were heard from outside the missing doorway. What's happening? I demanded. Visibly shaken by the intrusion, Bellamina stared with frightened eyes into Scattershot and I, though I reacted when the savage rustled in the snow. My magic enveloping him, a flick of my horn threw him farther back into a deep snowbank. Fear not, gallantry rises above this pool of evil, and I shall swim with such dignity. With that, I leapt from the home and surveyed the opposition. Two others looked over the fallen stallion with empty eyes. Not sure of what they were looking for, I eagerly invited them to a sight worth remembering. To the heavens I drew my head, gathering energy from the universe around me.
Through.
Yeah, through. All right. To the heavens I threw my head, gathering energy from the universe around me. From the mechanical and potential and kinetic and solar, small orbs began to flow from the air and culminate around my horn. Its base shined triumphantly, a paragon of supernatural excellence. All sweetness and light flew in droves to meet my call for power to vanquish these foes. Should you choose not to leave in a prompt manner, I shall not dry your tears, I called, gritting my teeth and sculpting the force into a tool of slaying. Slender body, curves like a battle axe, though I spawned a string to connect the creation. Crystals stemmed magnificently from the frame and shined with their own power. To fit a bow, a prismatic arrow began to extend and take form. Head sharpened by sheer vigor and vitality, it glistened with the bow and began to melt the snow around me. Finally, two majestic wings spread from the base of the arrow. They fluttered and tested the area around them before they took flight. With a sweeping motion of my head, I pulled back the bowstring, letting the arrow ready itself. Dull and listless eyes did not blink in the arrow's presence. Motionless, the empty shells before me only watched the pretty lights in awe. The energy neared its zenith, and tears began to fall from the savage's eyes. Mystified and still, They waited for me. Dynamic redemption arrow of destiny! I screamed to the world, the built tensions escaping my words. The massive span of angelic wings stretched to the side and took with it the momentum of the galaxy. Paradigms of the gods themselves gazed in awe as the arrow shot and sliced through the air. Its path of travel tore open a rift in the clouds above, letting precious sunlight exude its glory upon my projectile. With a thunderous collision amid icy howls, the three feral stallions were no more. Snow and furious flurries and tornadoes spiraled about the battlefield as I simply basked in the sunlight.
Wow, man. That entire time you sounded like you were completely out of breath.
I wasn't really I was out of breath for part of it. I was just really freaking slurpy. I don't know what the hell was going on with my saliva glands.
You also, like, the massive span of angelic wings stretched wide and took with it the momentum of the galaxy. That sentence you made up your own words for. But you said the same thing, but like you used to the side instead of stretched wide.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What?
Wait, what the hell? The massive span of angelic wings stretched wide and took with it the momentum of the galaxy. Done. Snow and furious flurries and tornadoes spiraled about the battlefield as I simply basked in the sunlight. When the snow finally settled, there was no sign of the marauders, making me the victor. Scattershot and Bellamina emerged from the home, though Bellamina rushed past me. Wrong form of past, but I'll let it slide. Atop the rock and melted snow? I won't let that slide. Atop the rock and melted snow. I just slapped myself in the face. She craned her neck.
Melted snow does slide pretty well, like down hills and stuff.
Well, you can use it if you're, like, in Alaska and you need a makeshift slip and slide. There in the sky, the ancient father of time smiled upon her, though clouds began to mend the opening. As she basked in the fading light, her colors shined but began to grow a grayer tint. At Zen, though the sun still decades from her. Features became rigid against her once youthful figure. Her mane wilted with the approaching age, as did her color, but her smile only grew with the feel of mortality upon her. What manner of sorcery spirited away the young mare? Her eyes did not move from the gap until the light was gone.
This is why you had an older voice for her, because he or she ages several decades.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have known that. Anyway.
No, but that's why you used an older voice for her later, I think.
Maybe. Possibly. Though I thought she, like...
I thought
she started off kind of old, and then when the sun shined on her, she looked younger. Oh, no, her colors but began to grow a grayer tint. So in the sunlight, she's getting older, but she totally respects it. She totally wants it.
Yeah.
Man.
Because, like we decided, she's like... Everything is hundreds of years old.
Yeah, you get a point.
You know?
Yeah, actually, you're completely fucking right.
But then she gets back to being useful. So I really, honestly had no idea why you had an old voice for her in the end. There's no explanation.
I don't know, man. A new gem glimmered in the sunlight. Something appeared on her flank, an image of some kind. The wound mended itself, the soul and youth returning to her smile and her colors. More saturated and brilliant than before, her colors returned, as did the years. Left in the darkness and constant surveillance of the clouds once more, Bellamina turned to me, her countenance visibly brighter and vibrant. Cobalt colors became a more lustrous blue, and her mane seemed livelier, even more than before. Despite the vibrancies, her mark had disappeared again. Her smile would not fade. She ran to me, embracing me and sobbing. I heard her whisper, "It is true. You are from Equestria." Scene break. I'm gonna break your scene. The snow had settled, as had our spirits, as we adjourned to the company of the fire once more to talk. Bellamina seemed shaken, her grin fading into a bittersweet mixture of elation and regret. These are the best of times and the worst of times. Didn't I meant...
Yeah, you did.
What? No!
Our derails, they're coming full circle.
They're freaking premonitionary. God.
Maybe you were remembering the last time we read this. Like,
No, I was most
subconsciously.
certainly not. I can't remember like an hour ago.
It's true.
Damn. What, man? Crazy.
I think the Victus trolled you.
My brain just trolled me.
Oh god.
Time itself just trolled me. These are the best of times. These are the best of times and the worst of times. It is our spring of rebirth and the winter of our despair. Is this her? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. We have everything before us and we have nothing before us. Wait. That was bad emphasis.
That
We
was
have
really
everything
bad.
before us and we have nothing before us. Living is death, dying is life. Uneasiness welled in her eyes, fire crackles filling the silence. My garage door is open and closed about, 6 times in the past 10 minutes. What is going on upstairs? I'm thinking my parents heard me shouting really loudly at 9:40 at night, and they were like, nope, I'm getting away from here, but now they're back, and it's still going on. Anyway,
So they leave again?
Probably. Now I hear people talking. Anyway. Fire crackles, filling the silence. Weird pauses going on in the fanfic.
Oh god, that's the best way of describing this narration today. Weird pauses.
We are not what we appear to be. On this side of the grave we are exiles. On that side we are citizens. On this side orphans. On that side we are children and sisters and daughters. Scattershot began to console her with the brush of her hoof. How many times... How many times must I break this night's shadow until you are cured? I asked, staring intently into the aged eyes of a young mare. Through her spectacles, she replied, A river of shadows runs through this world. If I could escape, I would be free. But where would I go? This is a terrible thing you two have done. What? Oh. Are we under the same curse now? Scattershot asked. Bellarmina's eyes widened, though withdrew themselves in a reluctant nod. I believe so. I don't remember how long I've been asleep in this spell, but surely I've passed my time. Maybe a bit less. My yawn cut the tension in silence. Another cog in the scheme I must face down and overcome. Temporal boundaries are a hindrance anyway, as this damned reading has proven. One less coal in the pile I must sift through to find the carbuncle. Carbuncle?
Carbuncle.
Carbuncle.
What is it,
Yeah.
a carbuncle?
Gemstone?
Gemstone. What?
That's a gemstone? Carbuncle's a gemstone?
Sounds
Oh.
like the name of a
Yes!
car
Oh
part.
my goodness, have you guys...
I just thought it was an enemy in Final Fantasy.
I just thought it was like a goofy,
It's also a
friggin'
summon in Final Fantasy.
carbuncle. It
It-
sounds like
but-
barber cars.
Wait. Wasn't it
Carbuncle-
like a little blue fox?
Carbuncle is... in Final Fantasy. Carbuncle is literally red garnet. It's just that back in biblical times, they called it carbuncle instead. So it's
Gotcha,
an archaic
rubies.
word that's no longer used for that.
We look archaic to you, James.
Yes, you do, Craig.
You mean thou we doth? Another cog in the scheme I must face down and overcome. Temporal boundaries are a hindrance anyway. One less coal in the pile I must sift through to find the carbuncle buried beneath their depths. I yawned again. I enjoy the thought of remaining in my prime. Make it your cornucopia. That was a weird pronunciation of cornucopia.
Yeah, that was. I think
Cornucopia.
you were like literally reading the word, and then you realized what word it was and tried to correct yourself. You were like, cornucopia! Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, there's an R in it, so I'm gonna pronounce that early.
The R is intrusive.
Are you sleeping already? Aren't you hungry? Scattershot asked, a question I could hear almost a shred of maternal quality resonate in. As I walk the surroundings, the universe feeds my body with energy, so much so I may last through the night. What the fuck is with my pauses tonight?
I don't know. You're going Shatner on us or something.
A little bit. Scattershot. Warp 6. Into the ever-free wastelands. We go.
Oh no. Now I'm gonna have to make a parody of that song, but done to Ultra. That's what I'm gonna be doing for the next few days. Awesome.
Last night. Pre-flight. Wait. I don't know how many. That doesn't sound too filling. Why not stay up a bit and humor us? A foul note in our harmony, but I conceded. Bellamina then withdrew 3 bowls, chipped slightly around the rim, of what appeared to be fruit of some kind. Not wanting to besmirch this extension of hospitality, I ate voraciously. So, are you after your dad? Mind if I ask what happened? Bellamina asked in between bites, the sustenance easing her turmoil. Pardon, let me reread. So, are you after your dad? That's some sort of fruit. Mind if I ask what happened?
So apparently Bellamina is an ancient evil or something because she
She's some
eats
sort of
with
ancient
tentacles.
snarling pig demon. Bellamina asked in between bites and snorts, apparently. The sustenance
slurps.
easing her turmoil. We're near the end. By the hearth's glow, I grew passionate and bright, and heard it like in a pause.
I like how when you said an applause, it sounded like you're saying an applause. Like, because you paused.
I said in a pause. I don't know what.
Oh my goodness. A pause is the best.
By the hearth's glow, I grew passionate and bright, and heard it like an applause goading me on. Cut down in this imperfection, my father could no longer brave what the world dared him to. No wounds, but only the internal horror of betrayal and toxins, the kiss of death, and the spit of a god upon his undeserving stallion, crumbled his world, and... This undeserving stallion crumbled his world and left a son with one less father. Depraved were these creatures of death in their dance, as the overturned body of my father lay deceased on our doorstep, with only a note to show for his symptoms, which read, "A pony with no title but dead." My father, as a tactful business pony, went by many names, though he could not have expected this title. I intend to right this wrong form of right, but actually it's a pun in this instance. Clever. I intend to right this wrong however I may, and this journey of mine may just show me what cues I am missing to the puzzle. Just as he was known by many names, I too ventured to interrupt Winston and add any and all adjectives to myself, so that the very utterance of my name in a city street may rile up and recall wonderful and vivacious words. You were saying?
I was saying clues. You said cues.
Oh, fuck. Why don't you tell me?
I did!
I intend to right this wrong however I may, and this journey of I may show me to what clues I am missing to this puzzle. Just as he was known by many names, I too venture to add any and all adjectives to myself. Any and all adjectives. Red, blue, green, tall, short. In a city street may rile up and recall wonderful and vivacious words.
Now you're doing the speed reading of this. I think that I will attempt that next.
Have fun.
That'll be the use
It's
of my
a wonderful
YouTube account.
journey, but aren't these words and words only? What telling do they have on you? Scattershot asked, the 2 mares engrossed in my mission. These words are but letter arrangements, I agree, but the connotations of these arrangements are what strike certain emotions and chords within pony kind, and cause actions where they may not have occurred otherwise. Words have the power to turn citizens into rebels, and colts into stallions. Thus, whatever solidifies my position as a threat to all those who may have opposed my father serves to bolster my mission. I paused and looked to Bellamina, unintentionally actually pausing in the reading.
It's true.
How would you describe me in one word? Without thinking, and pausing For only a second between a bite of an apple, she let out lofty.
I would describe you as pausing.
Lofty. No, she's like a loft, like a big apartment.
Yeah.
Scattershot and Bellarmine had chuckled in unison. I took the word with acceptance, and as a testament to her support of my own journey, I, for it, dupe, bat, da.
I was going to mention that your chuckling in unison sounded more like demonic laughter. But
That sounded pretty.
No.
Also, maybe Lofty in this case just means that he resembles Lofty from a very special Sunshine Princess.
I took the word with acceptance, and as a testament to her support of my own journey, for it seems to always begin this way, I turned to the snickering Scattershot. Snicker. If I am simply Lofty, riddle me your reasons for following me. Surely it wasn't that I just inspired you to go, no matter how flawless my skills in eloquent locutions were. Eloquent locutions, I like that phrase. No reasons other than the point that you seemed like you were going somewhere and you knew where you were going. From the moment you snuck into my home and slept on my couch, I knew you would be somehow influential to me. At least in the back of my mind I did. You see, I believed I was invincible like you see yourself to be. Though, when you foretold the world beyond my doorstep, it put the world into context and how small I might be. Apply it to yourself and your desire for words. For once you lose them, you'll see they aren't and never were solely yours. There it was again, that blend of matter-of-fact and motherly wisdom which skirted an issue I could not identify. If I ever lose a battle, then may I choke on my own words and titles, but until then, I claim them as my own. With that, Bellarmine and Scattershot went on, but I could not. The employment of magic performed previously finally caught up to me in an exhaustive wave. As it washed over me, I became stone and would not budge, even for my nightly entries into my adventure log. I would catch up on it tomorrow, as would my search for a definitive answer to my offering to expand my team. I saw Bellarmina's mark again in my sleep. The fire felt calming as I drifted off to sleep there on the floor. End of chapter. Any comments or inquiries or suggestions can be sent to sirostentatious@gmail.com. Thanks!
I don't know what voice you do when you do that ending thing. Who is that?
I don't know either. This is the inquiries and suggestions for sirostentatious voice.
Okay then.
Sirostentatious.
Ostentatious.
Ostendigitarian.
Ostendigitarian? Really?
Ostengenarian. He's Osten decades old. Anyway, that was good.
Let's end this before we derail to something else.
Chugga 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 woo woo.